actors here. First up, she's a legend, Broadway, 6-time Tony winner, a Tony nominee, a Tony Award winner, multiple Emmy nominee, and many, many other things. She plays Madeline Pugh, one half of that, the older version of Madeline Pugh, Linda Lavin. How cool. And now, the other half of Madeline Pugh, who played this in the film here, the younger version, she's so great, a 3-time SAG nominee and many other things, Alia Shawkat. He is a 2-time Emmy winner and many other things. You've seen him in so many things, of course, Veep and Arrested Development, which you also saw Alia Shawkat in. It's a reunion of sorts for them here. Please welcome, as Jess Oppenheimer in the film, Tony Hale. She is a Tony Award winner on Broadway, Born Yesterday, many, many other things, playing Vivian, Vance, Nina, Arianda. Oh, he is an Academy Award-winning actor, a fantastic actor, and so great as William Frawley, J.K. Simmons. And another Academy Award-winning actor of so many different movies, even more than one this year alone, playing Desi, Arnaz, Javier Bardem. All right. And as Lucy, another Academy Award winner, Nicole Kidman. And this is a huge crowd here, obviously. I'm told the majority of them are actors, members of SAG, so that means a lot to get that kind of reaction. Well, so great to have you all here at the world-famous Chinese theater. So much history here, so much history in this movie. Nicole, I gotta ask you just flat out, why take this on? You know, people on the internet are, no, this, that, and you know, in this day and age, when you do this, it's a risk and all of that, and when we see the results here, we know why, because you absolutely knew what you were doing. It's a phenomenal performance.
I didn't know what I was doing.
You didn't know? Well, tell us about that.
I think I didn't know, and so therefore, when I said yes, I'm saying yes to a great screenplay, and a great director, great writer, and a great cast. That's what I'm saying yes to, and saying that I'll take on Lucille Ball. I thought, wow, what a great opportunity, and then when it trickled back to me, because I don't go on the internet and sort of Google myself or anything, that I wasn't the most popular choice to play it. I was like, okay, maybe I've made a mistake. To which then Aaron Sorkin and the producer Todd Black went, we're not letting you out.
Yeah,
so
you actually tried to get out of it at one point, right?
I didn't try to get out of it. I got overwhelmed by the amount of time we had to prepare, and I was frightened, which is fine as an actor. I mean, you get frightened, but lucky enough, we were all able to talk, and we definitely were both frightened together. And then you just put your head down and you butt up and you just go, I'm going to work and do the work and do the preparation emotionally, technically, and be incredibly grateful for the gift of this role and this woman.
I'm so glad that you did say yes, because when you see this performance, it's not an imitation, it's the essence of it. It's not doing I Love Lucy, although there's part of that. It's about a marriage. It's a drama about making a comedy. And there's so much in it that you brought to it. I'm wondering what your relationship was with Lucy Arnaz and Desi Arnaz Jr., which if you saw the credits, they are executive producers here too. Did they help? Were they on the set, or what was that like?
Incredible help. Lucy sent both of us actually secret recordings of her with her mother, and the way Lucille would talk to them, and we got to be privy to a lot of very private things. And she was very generous with all of that, and she came to the set, which was really weird because I'm all dressed up as her mother, and she's looking at me like, this is weird, and it was all weird and kind of extraordinary, and she was so supportive. And actually, the first time I saw the movie, my husband sat next to her, and she had seen it before once, but then she saw it with us, with a group of people, and she wept. And that was as an actor, an incredible thing to sit next to the daughter when you're playing her she's seeing her parents, and she has that emotional response, because terrifying, and I didn't quite realize how terrifying that would feel. But to then have her say thank you was just beautiful. And I'm subsequently, and I want you to speak, were very protective of her,
She went on the internet, speaking of the internet, and before I even saw the movie the first time, I saw what she had said about it. She had just seen a screening. And she said she was just raving about it, and she said, and she's telling this to the world of Lucy fans and everything, which she's so connected with, and she singled out you too, and said, "Oh my God, wait!" And Javier, and the entire cast here,
and Aaron,
and of course Aaron Sorkin. Let's give a shout out to the man who actually wrote this and directed it. And Javier, I have to say, what's it like to do Aaron Sorkin's words? He is, he's like Patty Chayefsky or one of the greatest writers that's ever done movies.
Hello everyone. I'm very kind of overwhelmed by being here. It's pretty amazing to be in this theater now.
This is Hollywood history here.
That's a huge screen. So my big head here must be like...
You're seeing yourself in IMAX. This is IMAX.
This is Trimax. Anyway, I didn't understand a word he wrote. So I had somebody to translate me the script. She was the one, my agent and loving friend, Elise Church. Now, what is it? It's a gift for any actor to play with his words, but it's a responsibility because you have to be at the height and on the depth of the images that he creates, which are many, but beautifully created, organically created. I mean, he loves performers. He loves performers, and he knows what you need in order to get in there. But it's very demanding for any actor to play with his words because it's like there is no way to hide.
It's a different accent. He's Cuban, and so you have to work on that, and also the music. I didn't realize you were as musical as you are here. I mean, you really...
I'm touring. I'm opening a show here in a couple of weeks. I only have one song, but I can repeat it for an hour. I enjoy it. Actually, I enjoy it. I mean, what can I say? I enjoy it. I don't know if you enjoy it. I enjoy it. And playing the drum, playing the congas, it's something that I wanted to do one day, and it happened because I kind of like the drumming thing.
playing Cuban Pete and the guitar. Did you know how to play guitar before that?
No, the guitar I don't play. That's why the camera is very well placed. You won't ever see these fingers playing a guitar. They tried to teach me. I'm 52 years old by Zoom. I said, are you fucking kidding me? You want me to learn to play a guitar at 52 years old by Zoom? So no. So Aaron did a great job with the camera.
What I loved about this movie and the portrayal of Desi is that a lot of people didn't realize what a smart producer he was. And, and Lucy too, a very strong business person, which at that time in the 50s wasn't that prevalent, certainly, that they had their own company and they produced Star Trek among many things and had a vision to do this. Mission Impossible, all of those, and a ton of comedies too. I mean, that aspect of Desi, I think, is really interesting to play to.
Absolutely, and they're all there. They're all spread through the story and in the script, and that's the energy that you want to portray, the energy of a man who's really, not stubborn, but very decided to fight for what he thinks is right, and most of all, for the love and the protection of his wife, which is what he adores the most.
What was the chemistry like between the two of you? How long? None? No chemistry?
No, of course it was. Thank God it was. We met on Thursday and we were shooting on Monday.
Wow, I was going to ask
it's
how
like,
long you had.
all right.
Which actually helped the chemistry in a strange way because we weren't able to relate as we are now. We had to come in pretty much as the characters. We had a number of conversations on Zoom, but we actually the chemistry between Desi and Lucille has to be extraordinarily fiery. They were deeply passionate. They would fight and they would
Make up.
Yeah.
That was evident.
I don't swear.
That was evident from the first scene in the movie before we even see your faces here.
Yes. And there was but there was also incredible partnership because they were able to, she fought for him, he fought for her, and they were gorgeous together. And they had two beautiful kids, and they didn't make it all the way to the end of their lives together. But what they made during their relationship, I think, is what is celebrated in this film. And I love that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful film about a relationship, about a marriage and everything. I mean, and what Sorkin did, too, was condense all of these big events into that week of the shooting of I Love Lucy, which was ingenious, really. The whole communist bit and having a baby on television in the 50s, and also the extramarital affair, all of that in their marriage in that week.
Him calling Hoover, all of that's true.
It is. I was wondering about that. That's an amazing scene. So that really happened.
Yeah, that really happened, and it is very that ending. I think that scene. Speaking of chemistry, that scene, the very last scene with the handkerchief, that was one of the first scenes we played. And that was like an Everest mountain. For me as an actor, I thought, well, here is where you decide the movie heart has to be beating in this scene. And we didn't have time to prepare, we didn't have to rehearse, but we just jump in there and we work and we trust in each other. We prayed.
Before we went on, we were very, I remember standing side stage with him before we were shooting that sequence and going, and I think where Aaron is ingenious is he didn't give us the time to rehearse and work and actually overwork the text. I'm speaking for all of us, which we desired. I don't know if JK was like, no, I got this. But it was really interesting because out of that came this energy, this frenetic, because we were frightened and because we were forced to the line very quickly, the energy from that allowed that to be put into the film and into each scene each day. And that's something you can't act, you can't manifest, it just happens or it doesn't happen.
It's amazing, and I have to ask you, I have to ask all of you as well, in the making of I Love Lucy, those bits in the movie where you're recreating the actual show, everybody's seen that around the world so many times, so that has to be exact. But I got to ask you, Nicole, doing that grape stomping scene, so iconic. You and that other actress in there.
She's amazing.
She was amazing, and the two, where? Right there. Wow! Oh, stand up! Stand up! Wow! This was not a setup. I had no idea she was here. I was just blown away by your performance as well in that scene. It's so good. And that must have been fun to do, roll around in those grapes and everything there.
Well, we met and we both got into the grapes, and we're like, this is way slipperier than I thought, right? Yeah. And we kind of went, okay, let's go. And I'd been working on it for months, and we shot it in 3 takes. Yeah.
Amazing.
So glad you're here.
That's so great. JK, another great performance, and boy, taking on William Frawley. Right from the beginning, it's hilarious when you're talking about Rusty Hammer, this communist kid. He's 7 years old.
She was the one that took on William Frawley.
Really, I guess in real life, they didn't really love each other, Vivian Vance and William Frawley.
One of the first things that I learned as I was doing my research, was apparently the first read-through, and I heard slightly different versions of this from different books, about a Desi book, a Lucy book, a Vivian Vance book. At the first read-through, she and Lucy are walking, to the table read, and Bill is sitting there at the table, and she looks at him, and she looks at Lucy, and she goes, "You got to be kidding! I'm married to this old coot." And Bill overheard that, and that was it. I mean, that was the beginning of 7 years of contentious relationship.
Yeah, and it sure worked.
I mean, it's not like he wasn't an old coot. I mean, it's about the same age difference that you see here. So the reality is what the reality is.
It's great. It must be fun to play him, though. Did you look at a lot of shows? I'm sure you'd seen I Love Lucy a million times and things, but what do you do when you have to play somebody people know so well from television?
Well, it was terrifying. I mean, we were all the 4 of us who were playing these iconic characters were afraid of that. I initially was leery of, even though I saw on the page what a work of brilliance it was, I was leery about doing it, and finally, after my conversations with Aaron and knowing that these people were involved, he was able to talk me off the ledge, and I really realized that it's important as an actor once in a while to do something that scares you. Right? So you don't settle into, here I am doing my John Wayne, every time out. Not that the Duke isn't awesome, I love the Duke. But yeah, it was a frightening, intimidating prospect. And having the ability, obviously, to watch all the old footage was fun. I'm the only one of the 4 of us, of course, who was actually born when I Love Lucy was still on the air. I felt a sort of an obligation there to be the voice of wisdom, the voice of the period, and the anachronism police, sometimes, and of course, Aaron and the team, the whole team, our production designer and Susan Lyle, our wardrobe designer that we all loved. And the whole look of the film was such a great support for all of us.
And actually, Aaron Sorkin had mentioned to me that you were in his head when he was writing this. You had worked with him before on A Few Good Men?
We worked together every 31 years. I was a replacement understudy in the original Broadway production of A Few Good Men. Yeah, and when I had an opportunity to go on, Aaron got a call from the producers. He came and saw me, and that was the first night that we met was after my first performance. When, of course, anybody who's ever gone on as an understudy, high on adrenaline the entire time and trying not to soil yourself. But it was a remarkable production, and to this day, one of the greatest experiences of my life. And then to be able to meet, Aaron right after having the privilege of saying his words was, still a highlight of my career, and here we are again. So somebody do the math. We'll do another movie together in 2052, I guess.
Can't wait. And speaking of going on Broadway and theater, Nina, fantastic career. Tony Awards, everything. Playing Vivian Vance, I have to tell you, you did both aspects of her. As Ethel Mertz, just exactly as we'd expect. And then, I think she's hot, Vivian Vance. I really do. And she had that career. And you really showed that. Putting on that dress and in the mirror, all those scenes that you do here, I thought it was really poignant in its own way, too. And watching this star, this actor, realizing she's going to be in this thing she probably didn't know was going to be as popular as it was. And talk about that.
Yeah, I embarrassingly did not know that much about Vivian Vance. And I knew a lot about Ethel. There's all the footage I could wish for in front of me. But with Vivian, not so much. And I came across something which was a tiny little video of her being introduced by Desi before the show starts. So he introduced the whole cast, and here comes Vivian. Complete opposite of Ethel. Everything that she had been, this ingenue, this leading lady, this, object of desire, so to speak, this dancer comes out. And her entire body was different. What she wanted to project to the audience was different. And that just fascinated me, how that woman then became Ethel, and stayed Ethel, and was known as Ethel, and was somehow boxed in as Ethel. And I think that part of the frustration in the film is that pain of being boxed in, and perchance never being able to kind of go back to what I would say was her roots, in a way.
That's probably true. She went on to do another show with Lucy, another sitcom where, they called her Viv and all of that. But she never really did, in anybody's mind, actually, get back to what she was. But if you look at Vivian Vance on screen and look at her old films and things, you see that.
Oh, she was a torch singer. She had her own line of, perfumes and lady products. She was that popular. So I can't imagine how jarring it is to go, okay, so this is it. This is where I leave this, in a sense.
And Tony Hale, we know you from so many, television comedies, Veep and Arrested Development, Buster there, and Veep, and all of that. This is wildly different, I would imagine, in a view of doing television comedy as opposed to today, as you've got such experience with here. But you play Jess Oppenheimer, the producer and head writer, and so what did you have to do research-wise to dive in to play this character? You're so good here, and you just with your looks in this film, like going, oh God,
Pain, anxiety. I was asked in an interview the other day, they were like, so what made you choose this? I just remember thinking, what? Like, Aaron Sorkin wanted me. Like, what? There was no choice. I just felt, I was like, I didn't take any time. But it was, concerning the research, I felt like Aaron always, because there wasn't a lot about Jess, and he always wanted us to focus on kind of the humanity of these people. And not, because you kind of come in with an idea of this era and these people and just the humanity that they're going through. This is their life. He had worked with Lucille obviously before this, and his show was about to be canceled. His love was about to be canceled. She was about to be canceled. And just those stakes and just kind of the humanity of their relationship, that she was kind of a confidant with him. And so really just kind of getting us to kind of that base of it the whole time, which was really, really helpful. Yeah.
What was the biggest challenge for you in doing this role?
The high-waisted pants were not really no man looks flattering on the high-waisted pants. I'd say the biggest, just to not, we have all said it, not to be intimidated by the experience. because there was just times where like, what the hell is happening? You know, and we are a we're a slice of this pie, and most of the pie is like the production designers and the music, and it's just so much artistry in this movie, and they recreated the set of a show that I grew up on, and so you just kind of had to shake yourself and be like, all right, let's just take this day to day and say to each other, we got this, you know, let's go to craft service, get a snack, and, you know, keep going. You know, so I think that was probably one of the challenges, yeah.
I mentioned it's a little bit of a reunion because your Arrested Development co-star here, May, being Alia Shawkat.
And what's cool, can I say, this is my favorite thing to say. So when I started Arrested Development, I was 32, and Alia was 15. And on this, she was 32, and my daughter is 15.
Perfect symmetry here. So Madeline Pugh, my wife's name is Madeline, and it's spelled that way, and she only knew her name from looking at the credits on I Love Lucy. She always thought she was named after Madeline Pugh, whose name rolled by at the end credits, until her mother told her that wasn't true. But, you know, this is what she thought. But I have to say, you are young. We just established that.
Compared to another number,
I like to do my research before I do these, and so I looked up your age and birthday and Lucille Ball's age and birthday. You shared 8 days on this planet with Lucille Ball. She died 8 days after you were born.
Oh, and 8's my lucky number, so that.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I'm just wondering what impact she had on you growing up, since this show's never been out of circulation. Were you a Lucy fan? Did you watch it, or what was your experience?
I used to watch I Love Lucy on Nick at Night all the time. Some Nick at Night executives in the back. I loved it. I watched it so much, and then when we were doing the film, kind of the only research I did, honestly, besides seeing a couple interviews with Madeline and Bob, was I would watch I Love Lucy episodes every night before I'd go to sleep. Just to kind of like stay in the world again, and the timing of the jokes, and also playing a character who had something to do with coming up with those jokes and writing them. So it was like I was listening to it as if like, yeah, I kind of wrote this thing, you know. Obviously not taking that much credit, but I mean, I was a huge fan. Lucille Ball is an icon, to say the least. And also watching her performance, the episodes stand so strong. She's just such a brilliant clown, which is something that I always like to consider myself as, and working towards that more and more. But her physicality is just so genius. This episode with her and Harpo Marx, when she has to mirror Harpo, it's unbelievable. And I saw her doing an interview with Dick Cavett where she's kind of saying how Harpo wasn't really rehearsing, but she rehearsed, you know, tirelessly, which is what Nicole is saying is so cool to see in the film, is that Lucille Ball wasn't naturally funny, but she worked. She's like, I'll be funny by Friday. Like that idea of seeing her mind and how you create comedy. It was just, I mean, watching Nicole, another icon, playing an icon, it was such a surreal and honoring experience. And the scene that we got to do together, I was really slapping myself. I was like, you just gotta focus, and you just gotta get through this. But it was an honor, it really was.
You know, when you were saying the Harpo Marx, that was from the famous Hollywood season where Lucy, they come out to Hollywood. And then I'm thinking, we're at the Chinese theater where Lucy and Ethel stole John Wayne's footprint.
Yeah, the footprint, yeah, totally.
It's all connected, one way or another here. I have to say, too, about Madeline, it was very rare to a woman in the writer's room. It was mostly men, and, you know, and back then, and we saw it, and I love that kind of relationship between Lucy and Madeline here, you know, and showing, you know, for a woman there at that time, it really comes off.
Yeah, I think the scene that, you know, Nicole and I have together is such a beautifully written scene, too, where it's just showing the challenges that Lucille Ball had as a creator and playing this character, as well as what Madeline had, where she's kind of challenging her to try and push it further. And Lucille's like, we're doing it, just be patient, you know? And when you look back on it, it is a very feminist-driven show, obviously, even though she is asking permission from her husband in almost every episode, trying to, you know? But at the same time, you know she created the show. So it gives another, you know, layer to that.
And talk about legendary stars right there. Linda Lavin. which I love. I think that I love the stuff you did in this film and talking about it in that way that Aaron Sorkin sort of bookended things here. You actually knew Madeline because she was executive producer of Alice, along with Bob Carroll Jr. for 7 years. Is that right?
7 or 8 of the 9, yes. She and Bob came on after our first year and a half of a revolving door of writers. There were so many writers that came in every 2 weeks. Another group of writers came in. At one point, Vic Tayback, we were at the table, for a table read, said, "Who the hell are you?" And finally, Alan Shane, who was the head of Warner Brothers Television, hired Bob and Madeline. And so when I was offered this role, it was a surprise to my agent, to Aaron, and to Francine, the casting director, that I knew Madeline. And so it was daunting for me because I knew her very well. I worked with her every day and Bob for 8 years. They were an awesome couple. They were scary, and they were smart, and they came from radio, and television was just beginning. And Madeline was the first or second woman in comedy, in television. That's astonishing in this day and age. There still aren't enough women in those rooms. But she was a pioneer. And what I love about this movie, and there's so much I love about this movie, it's the second time I've seen it, and I'm going to see it just about every week for the rest of my life. Because of these people, because of Aaron Sorkin's writing and these magnificent actors. This is the most gorgeous work. This movie has everything in it that I ever want in a movie. And I'm very, very thrilled to be part of it. And, it's true. I got to do my storytelling on the last day of the shoot, so I didn't work with anybody here on the stage, but I did work with Aaron Sorkin. And it was Aaron, and I was sitting in that chair at a pool somewhere in Hollywood with a crew, and I got to tell this story. I got to remember what happened, and it was very moving for me to play Madeline because Madeline was very strict. Madeline's pencils were sharper than needles. And Madeline cared very much about, and I was so moved in that scene, Nicole, where, and with you, Alia, where you say to her, "You're my hero." And Madeline came to Alice with that devotion for Lucille Ball. So I think she was always a little disappointed in me that I wasn't more like Lucy, because I am not a physical comic. And God, to see that work, to see what Nicole has done, to see what all of you have done, all of you, it's just magnificent work. You're all wonderful, wonderful actors, and I'm happy to be here.
Did you know Lucy? Did you know Lucy?
You're talking to me, the oldest person here. I get it. That's okay. I know. I love that we're all aging ourselves here. I met her. I met Lucy, but I didn't know her. No, I met her at the 50th anniversary of CBS, a big event where there's a fabulous, iconic photo of all of us posed. All of the people who worked on CBS met at CBS Center one day and drank and ate all day long. So you can imagine what that photo shoot was like. We're all dressed in black, and Lucy was behind me, and her ring, she had a pronged ring that got stuck in my hair. So if you ever see that picture, you'll see me going, "Hello, there's something in my hair." But I did meet her that day. I did go up and tell her, "Miss Ball, I'm Linda Lavin, and I'm working with the same people that you worked with. I work with Madeline and Bob, and I know Lucy Arnaz quite well. We're in the cabaret world together, so yeah." But I was a kid in Portland, Maine, watching Lucy, watching that pregnancy, watching a baby being born. And just to see this story, this passionate love story, this tragic, passionate, thrilling love story is just a part of my life that I finally get to understand. So it's just great.
How about that? That's high praise. Amazing stories. Nicole, I mean, aren't you glad you did this now?
Honored, I mean, truly, and to honor her right now, she taught me now. At this stage of my life, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. But to do that physical comedy and to learn to move my body that way and to have that opportunity, it was just glorious. I've never been asked to do it. I'll probably never be asked to do something like this again. But by gosh, it's an incredible honor to have been so close to her and a part of her. So.
Both you and Javier are bringing this beautiful love story to the screen on so many levels too, and to the whole cast here. This is, again, a group of actors who will appreciate this more than anybody on earth, and so I'm so happy they had the opportunity today to come out here, see the movie, and to talk to you guys and hear about this. Thank you so much, and best of luck with you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.